Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Welcome.
guys.
Hi, Stefan. Marianne, thank you for being back. Justin, great to see you.
Let's
Welcome
see.
back to the Thursday stream. And Stefan, thank you so much for being here. You're kind of our guest star today. For
Thank you.
folks who don't know Stefan, he's our COO, and he is, tell me if I'm wrong, Stefan, but you're kind of a unified communications, like you're very passionate about unified communications, which is our topic today.
I do. I love the product. I've been using Ringcentral for so many years now, and when I came on board with Valiant, I was a big kind of advocate to switch all of our UCAS services over to Ringcentral for our clients, and I've kind of stuck with it. It's more fun than work for me. So
Yeah, that is awesome. And so thank you so much for being here today and lending your expertise. I was going to say you're a Ringcentral expert, and that was great. So really quick, I just want to thank the regular viewers for being here. We're happy to have you. And if you're new to this stream, Valiant, just for a little background, Valiant is a managed service provider, which essentially means that we are your IT department. We take care of your IT so that you can take care of your business. We're located in New York City, but we do have a national reach. And if you like what you see today, if you enjoy our stream, we've got a great YouTube channel. Check it out. Again, we have a lot of these streams. We do them every Thursday. Marianne has a robust training video library. I still use it. She's one of my favorite trainers.
Me too.
Yeah. She covers a lot, like any question you can really think of. And we have some webinars where we talk to other business leaders. So it's a great channel. And if you just want to find out more about Valiant, visit us at thevaliantway.com. I think Matt put the link in earlier, but again, that's thevaliantway.com. Thank you, Matt. And so let's talk about our stream today. It's unified communications for the mobile workforce. But before we jump into that, we've got Tech Bytes with our in-house training manager, Marianne Joborbolski.
Okay, great. So the tech bite I want to go over is just a little bit of a tip if you use Google, whether you use the free like G Suite, whether you use the free version, or if you have used the full Google Workspace paid version. I want to talk about how you can tell what your drive, your Google Drive, your My Drive, where things are shared, who has permission to access them, and how you can change it. It's really important for security. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Great. And so this is my Google Drive. It's my drive. And I have a couple of things on here. You can see the person on there. It means it's shared with someone. If it's an individual file, there's one at the one on the bottom. You can see the same logo. If you just want a quick, is this shared with people? Who's it shared with? There's actually an info button at the top, which is quick details. So you can actually see if you hover over, I'm the owner. This person can edit, but I also have a link that's available. So I know that anyone with that link can access it, even if it's not someone I initially sent it to, if it was forwarded on. The one thing about the quick view is that there are some things like you can see here, unnamed can edit. That just means that it's someone who isn't a Google subscriber, so it wasn't able to put their information in this quick view. But if you want more details, all you have to do is right click and look at the share function. So you click share and it'll show you everyone who is already involved. So this person's not a Google subscriber, and let's say that's the person who was unknown before. So if we talk about how you want to change that, you can see it right here if you want to alter it. Maybe this person, this version of Marianne was, this is her work one and this is her personal one, and I messed up sending her the personal one, so I want to change that. I can click this drop down. I can make it so it's view only, read only. I can make it so she can't make changes, but she can comment. She's set to editor right now, but since I've got her work email on here, I'm just going to remove this one's access. And that's it. That's how you can take off an individual person. The other option is if you have a link on here. So I am actually going to go back to this one that you could see that there was a link available. Go back to share. Now, right now, this link is for anyone with the link. You can change that to make it restricted. Restricted would be people who have to sign in with their Google account, and it would just be the people up here that you have shared with. But I actually prefer, I mean, this is just depending on what you need. You can also change what they can do. So I do still want it to be able to be forwarded like within a company. Maybe I shared it with one of my vendors and I want them to be able to give it to other people in their company. But this right now is set to viewer. Maybe I had it for editor at first and I want it to instead, I want them to be able to see it and put little comments so they can tell me if I need to edit something, if there's a change that they want to make, but they can't make the changes themselves. You just change it right there. Click done, and that's all set. This is particular for my drive, and I actually have this, this is a free account that you're looking at. If you have a paid account or a business account, if you have a business account, there's going to be one more option in there, and I would ask if Matt can bring up that overlay. It's going to be that you can also share it with everybody in the company. Now I put company name in there because I just blocked out what company this was from, but it would be, for us, it would be Valiant Technology. It would be whatever your company name is. And so that allows anyone with the link who belongs in your company and is part of this Google workspace would be able to see it through that link. So that makes it kind of easy for you guys. Yeah, and that's just for my drive. There are actually a lot of share options for team drives, which is now known as shared drives. But that's another story. So yeah, check us out at the knowledge base if you want to know more about that. But hopefully this helps anyone who wasn't quite sure where their stuff is shared or how to change that.
Marianne, thank you so much. That illumination on any of that stuff is always so helpful for me. So I hope our viewers appreciate it as well. And now we'll dive into what brings us all here today, unified communications for the mobile workforce. So let's start with defining that term. Justin, do you mind kind of going into that and what we mean when we say unified communications?
Not at all. So unified communications really refers to generally and historically to a phone system that ties into your email and calendaring, and over the years that's really been expanded to include other things that we use for communications, including video conferencing has become pretty ubiquitous. Also instant messaging, text messaging, email is a big part of it. Some businesses still use fax, and that's tied into unified communications. And the biggest most recent change we're seeing is, like Marianne was showing, access to data and to file sharing. And that falls into this unified communications bucket as well. And we also talk about not just unified communications UC, we also talk about UCAS, UCAAS, and if you've watched some of the previous streams, you know that AAS is for as a service, which generally means that it is a single bundle of services together rather than you running it yourself. So UCAAS is Unified Communications as a Service. I'd say with UCAS, it really has this spot in the modern workplace because it goes together. Communication and collaboration really go hand in hand. If you're going to be working with other people, you need to be able to communicate with them. You need to be able to share things with them, and having a unified platform for that, where everything is all tied together and in one place at the base level, I mean, it really can improve productivity because you're in one spot to do things rather than jumping from program to program or device to device. Can definitely reduce cost because, again, rather than having to have multiple different services and devices and things, you can bring it all together into one umbrella. And just from the day to day, teams can work together and have a stronger decision making process because people aren't as much of an island. You can reach out in an instant to get feedback on something, or you can reach out over a span of time and have things tracked and logged and work together. And that really, for me anyway, is such a great way to work with other people, because you can have even for the perfect example, this stream, that we do every week. We have a Word document. I mean, right, Marianne, were in it today to edit last minute stuff before, and now
Yep.
we're pulling our notes off of it, and it's all just there, and we can all work on it and communicate with each other on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, and I used it to put the quick bites that you guys just saw to make sure that I had my input on a shared document so everyone knew what I was going to do and it wasn't a big surprise.
Yeah, it's very true. I think, like you were saying, Justin, the improved experience, and especially with how remote we all are now, it actually feels like it's a really good way for me to feel like I'm still in touch with everybody, the unified communications.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah, and now that we've sort of defined it, thank you, Justin, for that. Can we talk a little bit about the examples of applications that facilitate unified communications or create it? Yeah.
So the first one that we'll go over is Microsoft Teams, and you've heard us talk about Teams a lot before. Teams is really known for being chat and video calling. That's a lot of what they promote as the core functionality of it, but it has a lot of other features that go into it as well. You can do screen sharing. I mean, we do that all the time. You can use it to do live events if you have like a setup for broadcast. Microsoft actually uses it for their keynote. They're even when you're going on their webinars, they're using Teams in the back end to do that. And it ties in to the rest of Microsoft's 365 environment specifically. I mean, calendaring, Outlook calendar, email, your contact list, files, all of that data, all that stuff is all kind of rolled into it. So it's one piece of software, one thing that you can use to communicate and access with all of that stuff. But there is also added on top of that, because when we use it internally, you can use Teams as a phone system, as a traditional phone system, as a replacement for having phone lines. You can get set up call trees, you can do recording, you can have people dial in from any number and use that as well. So that's really the piece that then once added into Teams really makes it unified as a full platform that can do everything. We do have, Matt, I don't know if you want to bring up a link to that Teams. There it is, the Teams Power Pack that we have put together. That's got a lot of great info on, I call it like a cheat sheet of stuff you can do in Teams, some keyboard shortcuts, and a lot of cool stuff there. But
Very
I want to ask Stefan to chime in on the other big communication platform that we work with, which is Ringcentral.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. So yeah, you kind of touched on a little bit. UCaaS, a little different than UC, very different than VoIP. Some people really are not super familiar. Obviously, voice over IP. That's similar to over the last, what do you say, 10 years, 15 years, Justin? Your cable providers just give you at home now and things like that. And so VoIP is really a piece of the UCaaS platform. And then going further onto that, again, like you said, the faxing and the email and things like that. And going back to Ringcentral, Ringcentral is one of quite a few UCaaS providers that are out there. We made a very conscious decision about 2 years ago at Valiant to do away with the multiple platforms that we were offering and stick to one. It makes it very easy for us to support our clients. We went with Ringcentral. Obviously, if you do a little research, anyone out there, Ringcentral is one of the leaders in the industry. Big company with absolutely amazing support, which is so important. And again, it's a platform that our clients utilize us for the most part to help them manage, but it is so intuitive. The portal is so intuitive that I tell everyone they can do it. Just to give you an example, George was not with us today. His daughter spent some time with us 2 summers ago, doing some summer work here in the office, and I actually used her to do some setup for some clients. And she actually enjoyed it and became very empowered being in there and doing things, and was so amazed that she was building out phone systems and call trees and things like that. So yeah, it's just a big, again, just to give you an idea, especially now with COVID and the work from home and sort of mobility, UCAS market last year was valued at 46 billion, and they're estimating by 2025 it'll be close to 140 billion.
Wow.
So it is growing, growing, growing. Everybody wants to be in it. There are a lot of good providers out there. Ringcentral, again, one of the top. There are, I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but you just have to buyer beware. You know, there's a lot of white labeling out there. So
Right.
you might be contacted by someone who says, yeah, we have our own platform, but it's not really theirs.
Yeah, like one of the things that we've run into, and again, not going to in general, but VoIP as a technology, you don't need anything fancy to do, and there are lots of VoIP systems that you would buy and have in your office and rely on your internet connection to use, but you could also buy that same system and put it in a data center and then sell it as a hosted VoIP. And there are providers and services that will do that, and they're not necessarily better, bad or bad idea, but it's not the same as a true like cloud-based service where that's all that they're doing. It's more than just a piece of hardware. It's an entire ecosystem of stuff. And for voice communication, I find that to be important, because everybody kind of, gets like, oh, there was a problem with email. Oh, there was a problem with, text messaging or something like that. But if you pick up the phone and call someone and you can't get them on the other end, that is, feels like a big deal to me. Like if you're getting to the point where you're trying to call somebody and you can't get them on the phone because their phone system doesn't work, that reliability is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, a couple of quick things I just want to touch on, that sort of the next level deeper dive that people don't really think of. Again, UCAS, like most technology softwares or platforms, people really only use the tip of the iceberg. They're so deep and in depth and things. And so Ringcentral and UCAS in general being one of those. Some of the things that really super important and helpful for companies right now in the work from home and work remote field is team presence. So, as a manager and operationally, not even as a manager, as a coworker, you can see if your coworkers or your employees are on the phone, if they're busy, if they're not busy, if they're available. And then the other part that sort of ties into that is the find me, follow me feature. So again, you pretty much can be reached anywhere. You can set up your own portal so that it follows you. So you're not at your desk. Okay, ring 3 times at my desk and then ring 4 times at my cell phone. And then if you really wanted to be crazy, ring my house phone 5 times and then go back to my desk phone and leave a message. So, which kind of ties into the apps. There are generally most superior providers have 2 apps, one being a mobile app that'll run on any mobile platform. So Android or iOS. And basically you open the app on your phone and now you sign in and it has your dedicated extension and number that you have within your business phone system. So even though that I am taking a call or making a call from my own personal cell phone, the person receiving it thinks it's coming from Valiant Technology. That app is so robust, especially with Ringcentral. I have faxed from that app. And again, you can do the video messaging and all those things. And the desktop app, which again is Windows-based or Apple OS based, is also fascinating. We were talking before this call this morning, some of us, and we were just saying, I'm in the office today in New York City, and I don't even pick up my desk phone, even though it's right next to me. I still use the desktop app because generally most of us, I think, are living with our earbuds in or headphones on, and it's easier just to click a button and pick that up.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't used my desk phone in a year, and that's not just because I'm a millennial.
I find one of the coolest things about the mobile app, and I use this a lot. We do rotating on call here, so that if there's an issue after hours or weekends that needs to be escalated, there's always someone available. And when we do that, we have an internal number that rotates through Ringcentral, so it's not my personal cell phone number that people call, and I'll find that if I need to pick up that call, I'm not necessarily at my desk. So I'll pick up that call on my cell phone and walk over, get back to my desk, and it'll actually let you switch, put your, move the
Yep.
call from the mobile phone to the desktop app, to the computer app, without having to hang up and switch or whatever. It's just pop on the headset and switch it in the middle of the conversation, and the other person doesn't know that I had to switch. And I find that amazing. Like, I don't have to scramble I can just answer the phone and then
Yeah.
get to the desk if I need
There's
to.
no, hang on, let me call you back. And
Right.
then-
Yeah. So it's slick, and it's I don't know. I've used it a few times,
And-
so I like that.
And to further add on that, if for anyone who's watching and is still in an office or going back to their office, is not a mobile app or desktop app kind of person, they want that desk phone. Two things. One, which I just thought of, but your desk phone has a what's called a serial number MAC address. So that's how it's identified. It's not identified by where it's plugged in. It's identified by that address. So you could take your desk phone and work remotely for 6 months in Canada, go on vacation to Tokyo, plug it in. It's going to think it's in your office. But the second thing, if you are not an app person, like Justin said, there's so many features. We couldn't even touch them all. But again, if you're on your desk phone in your office, you can set your phone up to have a hotkey that basically you do a quick hotkey on your actual desk phone. And the next thing you know, you're talking on your cell phone and you're walking out of the office to your car. So,
I think, Stefan, thank you so much for bringing all that up, because I think the staple of the modern workplace that we've been talking about this month is you don't have to be tied to your desk to do your job anymore. You have so much flexibility. And for those who want to be more tied to their desk, that's how work feels for them. That's great. But then you also have the option to, like you said, be walking out to your car, still taking that call from your work phone. And I am not, again, I am probably the least tech savvy, but the app was so user-friendly for me too on my phone. And it helps me not miss calls. So we've talked about the app. We've talked about the unified communications applications. Let's talk about how simple is it to deploy it? What do you need to do once you've deployed it? Justin, Marianne, Stefan, you too. Could you guys kind of speak to that a little bit as well?
I'll start with it, Justin, real quick. Just from a
Stefan does all of our Ringcentral
deployments to the clients on a regular basis, and basically, after a client reviews what the costs are and what the features they want, there's a couple of different levels that Ringcentral uses, and they're forever changing and tweaking things. But basically, you pull a trigger, you sign off on it, and your account is up and running with less than a half an hour. And so if you're not an existing business and you're not relying on bringing existing phone numbers that you use on your current phone system over, you're up and running in a half an hour. That being said, another half an hour programming. And so an hour after you sign on the dotted line, you could have a full-blown phone system with an auto receptionist saying hit 1 for sales, hit 2 for customer service, hit 3 for accounting. All of those neat features could be set up within an hour. And then if you are bringing phone numbers over, it's generally 10 business days, the rule of thumb. I'm finding that it goes much sooner than that. And when you do put the porting request, what they call in, to bring the old numbers over, you do an initial mapping that says, okay, Justin's phone number that he currently uses is going to map directly to the temporary phone number that Ringcentral gave us. And on the day of the porting, it all behind the scenes just flips, and one phone starts, the old phone stops ringing, the new phone starts ringing. And from the operational standpoint, that's really how easy it is.
Yeah.
I've set up one of those before, and it is really easy. So you can make the auto attendant, you say, if you press 3, go to here, and you make it go to there. But it could also be, you could have a backup. So it'll go to this one, like you said, ring 3 times, go someplace else. And it's very logical and very intuitive. But it is important that if you do have someone who's going to do this, that they understand. And I think I say this every time I talk about training, is that something with a lot of features, if people don't understand it, they don't use it and they don't get the most out of their money. So we do, you can still do training on this, both for the person who's going to be administering that stuff, but also for the users. If your user literally only knows how to pick up the phone and put it down, they might not be using these extra features that can make them more productive. So that's also
Yeah.
important.
You know,
And even
one
worse than that, they might be looking for other services and signing up for things to do that. Like Stefan said, he's been able to fax from his
yeah.
That's
mobile
true.
phone for it. And if you have people that don't know that they have a fax number included and fax service with it, and they need it, and they go sign up for eFax, well, now not only are they potentially spending money on something that they don't need, but you have a shadow IT where there's this service that you are, as a business owner or manager, you're not necessarily aware that you've got company data that's been put into this service, and you
Sure.
don't, know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Just to add to what Marianne said, so again, because I'm an operations person and such a super fan of Ringcentral, so one of the great deep dive features that we actually use here at Valiant, and you probably all don't even realize it's working, maybe Justin, but is unified messaging. So it's basically voicemail on steroids. So you still have your traditional voicemail, but now instead of just having a voicemail that's left in your voicemail box, it can also be sent as the audio file to your email address. And that audio file can be transcribed to text transcription. And we actually use that in our support ticketing system. So if someone does not make it to a live person, they do leave a voicemail message. The message is transcribed and it automatically goes right into our third-party ticketing system as an email. And it's as if someone called in, spoke to someone, and told that live person what their problem was.
Yeah.
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 I use that all the time, even just for my regular voicemail. I can't think of the last time I actually listened to a voicemail. I get the text transcript back, and especially when someone's giving you a number to call them back at, it's so much easier to copy and paste that number into the phone app and just dial it. Yeah,
absolutely.
That makes sense.
Well, I think if you guys have anything else to sort of mention before we finish up today, anything else you guys want to say in reference to Ringcentral or unified communications as a whole?
Well, I mean, in general, if you want more information, we have a lot on our website. I mean, we talked about 2 particular ones. Obviously, there are more, but we really focus on Ringcentral. So we have a whole page dedicated to that platform. And then we also have obviously a lot of stuff on Teams, both a page just for Teams, or if you go to the knowledge base, I've got a ton of how-tos on there. So
yeah, and we did focus a lot on the VoIP and voice access of UCAS, and I think we've covered a lot of the other features, things like file sharing and video sharing before, but and those features, those tools are available as well, and are part of this unified communications of linking everything together. And voice really is one of the ones that seems like it's very simple to do, and in some ways is, but also is very obvious when it doesn't work right. So it's one that you need to get right.
It's essential, absolutely. So all right, well, I'm just gonna wrap it up then, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for devoting your time, and please like and subscribe. Check out our channel, as I said before. If you have more questions about Microsoft Teams or Ringcentral, as Marianne said, there's a lot of information on our website, and we're just an email away. So feel free to email us. And actually, really quick, this wraps up our block of content about the modern workplace. So we ended on a note of collaboration. And next week, we're going to be starting in March our automation and integration block of content. I know Justin is really excited about that too. I don't want words in your mouth, but I do feel like I hear you talk about it a lot. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys for joining us today, and have a great Thursday and a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks,
Megan.
Bye.
Bye, guys.